Alright, welcome back to part 3 of owning the worst Lemon Corvette in all of Japan and trying to fix it to learn how to drift and own a drift Corvette in Japan. Anyways, today we're working on cooling. So we got it back from Acume, and through the help and courtesy of Masa at his shop, we have a bunch of stuff to install here on the Corvette. So we have a DeWitt's radiator, we got some hoses from Mishimoto, we have an oil cooler from HPI, the W5, power steering cooler from Turn 1, all kinds of goodies to be installed onto this Corvette. All right, again, shout out to Masa here at Restaurant. So he does like full frame off restorations of some really nice cars. Just kind of a specialist in the world of American classics. This is a bit newer from what he's used to be working on, but we're gonna give it a go. So I'm gonna do the best I can on taking all this stuff out, and hopefully this turns out rad. So let's go. All right, first things first, I'm gonna remove all the shrouding, and then on the bottom passenger side there's a drain plug, so we'll drain the coolant. All right, so after a lot of trial and error, got the radiator out of the car, kept hitting the condenser and ran into a bunch of other headaches, but we finally got it out. So there's the OEM radiator, but I don't understand, because if you run the VIN on this car, it comes back as a base. But it has an oil cooler and a transmission cooler fitted to the radiator. And to my knowledge, I don't think that the T56 transmission has or had like ports for the transmission cooler. So same with like the oil cooler. I definitely did not order that from DeWitt's, because again, it came back as a base grade. So I guess I probably should have checked ahead of time, but why? I could just be completely ignorant and like this is a common thing, but you know, in my own research, again, so this is my first Corvette, so there's obviously a learning curve, but yeah, I didn't know about that. So I'll have to ask around and figure what that is. Luckily, you know, we have an oil cooler from HPI. So this is their W5 series. It says Evolve on there somewhere, right? So we'll fit that up to the front. I think it's like 0.95 liters of capacity, and then we'll just have to run the radiator without a transmission cooler and just reroute the lines and do that at another time. So again, trial and error, I suppose. All right, so with everything out of the car, now it's just trying to figure out fitment. I got this power steering cooler kit from Turn 1, but nothing in the directions says where it goes. It just says, hey, put it exactly where the Z51 power steering cooler is, and I don't know where that's at. So I guess we look, I assume probably here and there. So we'll remove that and try and figure out where these brackets go, and then we got to figure out where we're gonna put the oil cooler. All right, so we got the new thermostat on. I had bought a part from Billet Specialties, and this thing did not fit. Like nothing lined up. I don't know. So I'm just using the original one. Moss is in here tapping for the power steering cooler. They got brackets. The OEM brackets on one side fit, but the other side didn't. So it's modified to fit, and it'll work. All right, next step, DeWitt's radiator. We got the fan package there too. We got our lines from Mishimoto. I tried to buy everything that I could in Japan, but I mean, no one makes anything for Corvettes, so I just opted to buy stuff from the US. All right, it's late, but got the radiator in. Now we have to do all the plumbing and the hosing and whatever else, and then figure out how we're gonna do brackets for this, because this is, you know, again from HPI, so it's kind of just an off-the-shelf universal part. I imagine we'll probably make brackets somewhere on this end, somewhere on that end, and hope that works. All right, good morning. Welcome back to day 2 here at Masa's shop. Plumbing in the power steering cooler was a bit harder than I thought. I think you either have to remove the alternator or like relocate the ABS over there somewhere to have access into the, I don't know, to put the extension fitting. We'll do that at a later time, probably when I do the harmonic balancer. But in the meantime, I guess we'll just focus on this. Again, pretty rad. Masa has some nice cars in the shop that he's working on. But yeah, that's where we're at. All right, here's kind of what we got so far. Figuring out how to mock up a little bracket on the other side. We're all good. Cut some brackets and then weld them together. Alright, here's where we got it so far. I think this works. I'm also kind of cooked this up and we still have clearance. So even when it gets hot, I think it's not going to be slapping around in there. So fitment looks good. Just a matter of welding everything up and then we'll put it in for final assembly. Alright, it's nighttime now. We got everything fitted up. This is how it ended up turning out. We got the brackets on the inside bolted in and then just back to the radiator support. So I think that looks nice. Should work just fine, and the radiator's in there. So we didn't have time today to finish, so these are just plugged off. We'll do the routing of the lines at a different day. But look at that, man. Thanks, Masa. It's another day and we're at a Cume. So we were able to fit up the oil cooler to the front of the car, and now we're just going to do all of the lines. Got a bunch of parts to install. Our improved racing goes to the block there. We have all our AN fittings, PTFE hose to make this work. And then I figured while we're at it, we'll just take off the trans tunnel. If you look, fuel line, we put something in from Radium, an external fuel filter. But all the lines have no heat protection. So what I'm doing right now is just going along and putting some heat wrap, and then we'll do the trans tunnel with it. All right, some progress being made. We have the improved racing oil block fitted up there. Just trying to figure out how we're gonna route our hoses. In the meantime, I'm working on this. I'm getting the trans tunnel shielding done for the torque tube. I wrapped the fuel line and taped it up. That's like the best I could do without removing the whole line and redoing everything. So I think that should be fine. It's out of the way and away from the torque tube. So, all right. So pro tip: if you're ever installing this DEI C6 trans tunnel shield, always install this first. I put this on here and then on both sides, and then this wouldn't fit up. See how this is a little bit of thickness to it? So I had to peel that off, and I just had the gold tape. So I don't even know if that'll do anything, but I just, you know, it looked ugly with just one side on there. So it'll have to do a little bit later, but check this out. We got everything all set up. Some heat wrapping on there. Everything kind of roots all the way up here. And there she does it. And that's all she wrote. There we are. Lines fitted up. Now we just have to fill everything up with oil. Decided to try this Euro Sunoco 5W40. So we'll see how that works. Kind of ran out of daylight again, so I think what we're going to do is we'll head home and then we'll come back in the morning for an alignment. Just, I don't know, check to make sure everything's not leaking. And then I got some tuning to do. I bought an HP tuners thing, so we'll adjust the fan temperatures. Go from there. All right, so it's a new day, and with new days come new problems. And today, we've buttoned up just about everything on the Corvette and got an alignment, took it on a test drive. Only for the coolant reservoir to break. So you can see right here, it started just bubbling out coolant. So I know these get old, they get brittle, and those coolant reservoirs eventually just break. So I knew that, so we ordered a new part, and we got this from Moroso. So apparently the caps are different. The OEM coolant cap doesn't fit this model. After 2010, the caps switched. So if you have a 05 to 09, I guess, you can't use your OEM cap. So here's the part number for a cap that will fit on your Moroso reservoir tank, should you ever buy one. In the meantime, I bought an HP Tuner's tool to tune the car and I guess adjust the fan temp and fan speeds. All right, so we just changed the fan temps to turn on a little bit sooner, and I think we're good to go. All right, quick change of scenery. We're up here in Hakone. I wanted to just kind of test out the car, make sure everything's good to go. So we're just checking the fans, doing a little beep booping with the laptop and HP Tuners thing. So we'll give that a shot, but look at this. So I got one of these. You toss it on the car, you turn it on, and then you press go, and it like auto suctions. So we'll toss the DJI on there. It's upside down, but well, I guess it's not. For purposes, we'll figure it out, and then we'll stick it on the front of the car and see if it turns out any good. Next goal for this car is going to a track day. So that's gonna be the next video. Thanks for watching. Tune in for the next one, and see you guys later. Enjoy the view.